Okay, I just want to cover Google. This is going to be a good example of some chart patterns that we're looking at. Some that have been in the past that have been tradable, and what we're looking for in the future next year or so. So first things first, let's go to the past. We see first of all that Google had a very nice run to the upside, and topped out, and the price level on that looks to be about 630. So as we see, Google made its correction pattern, and it made a double bottom pattern here, or a slightly higher low, and then we started moving to the upside and made it back to this 630 level where we once again sold off. Now you can see that in that time horizon where Google was in this consolidation, we had a flat top pattern or a triangle pattern with resistance to the resistance was at a prior high that we've seen before, and you can see the resolution as I get rid of some of this mess. The resolution for this pattern was a downside move, and we found support, generally speaking, where the previous lows were. So going further into time, Google, this is a weekly chart. Google is looking at, there's trades within Google on smaller time frames like this triangle pattern. But you can see the overall pattern for Google. We have a huge triangle forming with higher lows, and here, let's start this over with higher lows. So here's a low, here's a higher low, here's a higher low, and now we're seeing a higher low here. And our highs remain around 630. And Google just announced earnings, which is why you can see this huge upside move. So really, Google looks like it could possibly break out to the upside. Obviously our first target is the 630 level, where it's failed every time it's gotten to that level, since the end of 2009. So it'll be interesting to see if Google can break out, but just watch it, and really, as long as it stays above this trend line, I think Google makes sense for the long term. But from a learning perspective, you can see what's going on. You have, for example, this triangle. It's a smaller time frame move. People would probably see it more in the daily chart, but the big time frame move you can see is a tightening of the range, and we're looking for a resolution. It may be to the downside, but the most likely resolution is to the upside. Okay, I paused, but I just basically came to the daily chart of Google to show you that small triangle pattern that we saw. You can see here's your lows, coming up together, and generally speaking, here's your highs, and there's your breakdown to the downside, a throwback to basically test the breakdown, and a move lower to the downside. So I just wanted to cover that, and I thought it was appropriate to give a video on what stocks can do on multiple time frames.